Hey again, peoples. So, where do I start? I have no idea because I just finished a video and just turned the camera right back on and put myself on the spot. Token a bowl. I made a video about these meditation bowls, singing bowls. And how funny, I made a video, in the last video I talked about soak, which is the regional Burning Man. And I just looked on the table and found this little thing. It's like some kind of a, God, I can't remember what animal that is. Capybara or something. Anyhow, it's sitting on a branch. Soak is the regional Burning Man, and I went and I was tripping pretty hard on acid, and I was walking through, and there's this little, they have like a lit area where they have everything you could possibly need, like brochures on different drugs. It's a safety area where they've got water, condoms, everything you can imagine to try to keep people from hurting themselves or spreading STDs at big events like that. And it's produced, I think it's Dance Safe is one of the people that helped to fund that. But they have a little dish full of these little, it says take one if you need it. And it's this dish full of these weird little figurines and random stuff, rings. And I said, I've got to have that. It's just funny that I mentioned it in the last video. Soak is just awesome, you know. And I know that most of you don't know what soak is, and a lot of people don't know what Burning Man is. I think everybody's heard of it. But it's not just a bunch of hippies in the desert. You know, there are some very, let's just say a lot of wealthy and very intelligent individuals go to the events because it helps them to express themselves with people like-minded. It's not just a party of dumbasses. You know, a lot of the events and concerts today are just loaded with idiots. I mean, I can't go to these like heavy metal fests or punk fests because there's just so much douchebaggery, you know. You just see it. They litter, you know, they trash the places. And it's like soak is a leave no trace type of thing. Everyone picks up their garbage. Nobody leaves crap on the ground. It's always clean. I mean, you will never, ever see garbage on the ground. And if you do, somebody picks it up within 30 seconds. It's a community, you know, of people. And, you know, we can't live perfectly all year round. But for one weekend a year, we can come together with people who are like-minded and do what we want to do without being judged. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, male or female, you know, whatever your deal is, it doesn't matter. You will be accepted by the Burning Man community. As long as you're not hateful. I mean, they even have punk areas. They have these dudes in leather jackets and spikes. I mean, so many different people. It's seriously mind-blowing. And you'll see hippies and punks and doctors and lawyers and everyone just hanging out in these groups and talking about stuff, you know, life stuff. Or maybe just wearing a funky outfit and wanting to be seen. Because, to be honest, a lot of people do just dress up. But that's their thing. You know, who am I to judge, right? I mean, it can be a little overwhelming for some people when you're sitting there by a campfire and you see some guy walk up wearing a skirt that's clear over his cock, and his cock's, you know, a few feet in front of your face, and you're like, okay. But that's the reality. A lot of people do walk around naked or want to be noticed, whether they be peacocking, looking for a mate, or just whatever their deal is. That's the point. That's the extreme, and nobody gives a shit. You know, I sell ice at the ice booth the last couple of years. It's fun. You meet all kinds of people, and everybody needs ice when you're out there. And you know, there's always just, you'll see a couple, an older couple in their, say, 50s or 60s, and, you know, just bare-ass naked, walk up to buy ice. And maybe that's not normal, but that's what makes it good. That's what makes it great. The fact that if you can tolerate that, if you can handle people just being raw, being themselves. And these are older couples that aren't doing it just to get looks, or, they just want to walk around naked, feel free, in an area where they feel comfortable. And, it's, I'm not that kind of person. I don't like to hang out and be naked. But I guess that's my, my own personal deal. Everyone has their own thing, I'm actually pretty shy around people. It's funny because I make videos and I talk a lot of them videos, and you might think that I'm the kind of person who's very outgoing, and I guess I am when I'm out in public, but I tend to be a little bit more reserved until I get to know a person. And even if I've been talking to them for just a couple minutes, all right, I'll open up and just go on and on. But I don't like to, I guess maybe it's because I don't like to interrupt people. Maybe that's part of it. That it's just awkward to walk up and just start talking to somebody and then tell them about what you think or you feel, I can put a video out here, and if you don't like what I'm saying, you can turn it off. But if you're talking to somebody, they can't turn you off. They can walk away, but nobody wants to be rude. And, I don't know. It's just a good place to go and meet people. I've met some great people, and I've never met bad people at Soak, It's usually in May, so it's been 6 months. Exactly 6 months since Soak. That means 6 more months until the next one. But I'm pretty stoked because we got tickets. We might go see Lotus. They're like a jam band. And I found out they're playing the same night as Dark Star Orchestra. And I really wanted to go to that show. So, I don't know. I really like DSO too. Because they're playing 2 nights. So we're thinking we can go to DSO one night. This is, I think, February. And maybe go Lotus the other night. Because I already have tickets for DSO. And, sorry for those who don't know, Dark Star Orchestra they are a Grateful Dead cover band. And they've been playing for a long time, even when the Dead still existed. And they're great. I mean, the shows are amazing. They sound just like the Dead. I mean, they're just awesome. And they play in smaller venues. So you can go in there and just, listen. And what they do is they replicate an entire show. They don't just play studio covers or anything. They replicate a concert, one of their dates from front to back, and play the entire show. And that's pretty awesome. Actually, now I got them here, it says I got Dark Star for Saturday and Friday. And that's on February 10th at the Roseland Theater. And the Roseland's awesome. And then the other one I got it says celebrate a New Year's Eve, an evening with Garcia Birthday Band, 21 and over. And that's at the Mission Theater in Portland. And man, the Jerry Garcia Birthday Band is awesome too. But I'd really like to go to like a different type of show. Something weird, because there's some eccentric stuff. But then again, I love the Dead, obviously, because all that's Grateful Dead stuff. But the last one I have here is tickets for Excision, 18 and over, at the Roseland Theater on, let's see, when is this? January 24th. And it's so funny because my son, he's 22 now, and he said, yeah, my friend got me a ticket for Excision for my birthday. I was like, that's awesome. And when he told his friends I was going, they're like, your dad listens to Excision? Because honestly, when I was there last year, and it's hardcore electronic music, put it that way. It's, I'm not going to say it's dub or any of that kind of shit. It's just whatever I try not to define electronic music because it's so varying. And Excision has his own style. Brutal dubstep, maybe. But it's great. He puts on a really good show. And the bass, he has this PK bass system, which is like 150,000 watts. And it just fucking rocks the place. Seriously. Like shakes the walls. I was looking up at the ceiling and I saw this crack as like plaster was falling out when the bass was hitting. And it was awesome. I had a great time. Gotta say, a show like that felt like the oldest guy there. I think I saw one guy older than me. It was really weird. But I was dancing more than any of those kids. I don't get too high. I just take a little bit of kratom and then have like a beer or two when I'm there, and I just go crazy. It's the music that hits me. I can be dead sober and just go, and I just love music. On that note, hit the Tibetan bowls. Yeah, I totally dig it, man. I love music. I don't want to get into those. The thing about going to shows is I've met a lot of people who have never been to a concert. They've never seen a band play live. I've talked to subscribers who, this one lady, I can't remember who it was, she was, I guess, in her 50s or something. She'd never been to a concert ever or seen anybody play live music. And I thought, oh my God, how? How much are you missing when you don't see somebody play music? But I've met a lot of people who don't really listen to very much music. So unless you're into it, it's hard to listen to it. And I also know a lot of people just don't like music. And after reading a couple books like Musicophilia, I see that some people just aren't interested in it. So it is what it is, but I love going to shows. I can't wait to go to, I guess all of them. They're all going to be great, but I got off track there. Here I am reminiscing. Oh man, I love going to concerts. Yeah. I went to see Insane Clown Posse, ICP, back in like 2003 or 4, I think. 5, shit, I have no idea when it was. It was about at least 10 years ago, I think. And they were like tossing bottles of Faygo, shaking them up and slamming them. And the Faygo's like a soda. It's their thing. Hitting them, slamming them down on the ground, and the cap would shoot off, and they shoot into the audience. I saw this one chick just get clocked the fuck out, like with a 2-liter bottle. It was wild. You just go home sticky as hell, covered in soda. It's nuts. But I actually really enjoyed their music. They're very smart guys. But it's brutally harsh lyrics. Listening now, I'm like, okay, even knowing that the lyrics were horrible, I was able to overlook that because I just loved the beats, and some of the songs I resonated with, like one about driving in a car through traffic, and they were aware, but they were playing a game, and that's, I think, what a lot of musicians do. But anyhow, there's so many different rap artists and like alternative kind of music that I'd love to hear live, but that when you actually go to see it, the artists suck. And a lot of rap is that way. And there's some music that's even better live, and that's where the Grateful Dead came in. There was no way to beat them. For all the live music I've been to, the Grateful Dead were phenomenal. I discovered them in like 92. No. Yeah. It was 1990, I guess, or 91. And then I started going to see him in 92 through 95, and then Jerry died. And in that time I saw about, I don't know, like 10 or 12 shows. I think it was 10 shows. From Seattle to Portland, Shoreline, and Oakland. I hitchhiked down there basically barefoot one time just to go see a show. And my friends were just blown away because the minute I walk into the parking lot in Oakland Coliseum, I see my buddies and they're like, dude, you made it! And it was just like this huge reunion, and because they didn't have room in the bus for me. But I ended up getting a ride back from them. Music isn't just about the music, and events just aren't about the event itself. It's about the people you meet and, I don't know, the experience that you share with other people. And the more people you share it with, the greater it is, because then you can discuss it with them, Like when I went to, when we found out that Dead and Company, or it wasn't then, it was just the Grateful Dead, or the Dead. They called themselves the Grateful Dead at that point. This was last year. And declared that they were playing a Fare Thee Well show. and it was a fairly well tour. They did Oakland, Chicago, Soldier Field. And we were so bummed over here because we really wanted to go. And then all of a sudden they declared that they're playing in Mountain View, California, which was one of their, their place where they were from, San Francisco area. And so we got tickets. We did everything we could to get tickets and loaded up with our friend Scott and my son Raistlin and his girlfriend at the time. And they took their own car, and we all drove down there and through the hot desert sun and shared the experience, and had this phenomenal weekend that I'll never forget, that I've got on tape and video, but most of all in my memory. No amount of stupid pictures can ever account for that strong memory, especially that first night, because Trey from Fish, his name's Trey Anastasio, he's the lead guy from Fish who sings and plays guitar, and I really like the band Fish, and not just because they're a jam band. It took me until like 98 to like them, I think. My brother was like, no, they're really good, and it's like, they're just another jam band. And now, almost 20 years later, I love Fish, and we went to see them last year too. But anyhow, the Dead in Cali were just phenomenal. The first night, I was dead sober. Remember, I was wearing my fully white outfit with my linen white pants and shirt, and I was behind the stage, but we could see him because it was open. And I didn't take any drugs. I just cried the whole time, it seemed like. I know I wasn't crying the whole time. I was really into it, but a couple songs hit me. It was all their old stuff, and it was just phenomenal. So, yeah, concerts are great, And then when they came as the Dead this last year with John Mayer, I took too much acid. I was laying out in the field, and I was just laying there loving it. I felt the music just going through me, but I couldn't dance because I was tripping too hard. But it was a blast. And then we stayed at a campground, had this shuttle that would take us back to the campground, and everybody's partying out all night. And there's nothing funnier than a camp full of friends who are all tripping and giggling. It's it's something funny. But anyhow, I've been talking about my experiences. I've been reminiscing here, so I guess I'm going to go. It's been a long video. I'll talk to y'all later. If you've followed my stupid stories about my life this far, well, congratulations. You've got more patience than I do. Yeah. I'll talk to y'all soon.